Hello everyone and good evening. I'm Don Arleth and it's time for World Talks here on TVP World. Russia wants to deploy 10,000 soldiers to Moldova and install a pro-Russian government. The country's Prime Minister Dorin Recean has told the Financial Times on Wednesday in an interview. There are already about 1,500 soldiers, Russian soldiers, stationed in the breakaway region of Transnistria. They want to consolidate their military presence in the Transnistrian region, Recean told the newspaper, noting that Russia's objective is to expand its strategic influence not only near southwestern Ukraine, but also in its proximity to NATO member Romania. And now joining me to discuss this threat and what should be done to prevent another security crisis on NATO's border is former Romanian diplomat Eusebiu Slavitescu. Great to have you here. Thanks for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. Now, I imagine, after we saw this piece come out in the Financial Times, I imagine that the upcoming elections in September are going to be key to probably moving in 10,000 soldiers, yes? So we've seen Russian influence and how they tried to influence the elections last time with large amounts of cash and buying votes. What do you think the current government needs to watch out for in the months ahead right now?
Well, now that elections in the region are done, Poland is over, Romanian drama is over. Now we're getting back to some sense of normality, thank God. Moldova is next. And Russia's massive interference machine will do absolutely everything to win in Moldova in September. The stakes for Russia now are enormous in Moldova, although they might not seem so enormous given its relatively small country, not that rich, not in the European Union, not in NATO, neutral by constitution. So what would be Russia's game, and why are they willing to put in millions of dollars, as we have seen during the referendum campaign and Maya Sandu's elections? We have seen planes moving from countries to countries. We have seen millions of dollars stopped at the borders by the Moldovan frontier police, just as we have seen in Romania, millions and millions. And this can only get worse for a very simple reason. Russia has always tried, once they created this frozen conflict, like Transnistria is one of them, to instrumentalize it and use it as a weapon, as a foreign policy weapon whenever they need it. This is textbook Russian manuals. We have seen it everywhere. We now have 350,000 Moldovans in the Transnistria's breakaway region, which, by the way, let's not refer to the local government as some independent government. We're talking about Russia here, right? Let's be very clear about that. This is Russia's chaos and instrument, and Russia has done so all the time. Why is it so important for Russia right now? Because of Ukraine, because they are struggling in Ukraine, because regardless of how you look at what's happening with this brutal, criminal and illegal aggression on peaceful and sovereign Ukraine, again, language matters. Regardless how you look at it, they're doing badly in Ukraine. They're doing very badly. Probably their intention was to get Odessa, and right after Odessa to ride in with more troops, whether it's 10,000 less, to Transnistria. But since Odessa didn't fall, and since Ukraine, a country without a navy, destroyed a lot of the navy of the Russian Federation, and now the Black Sea, it's sort of clear in this region because they're very much afraid of the Ukrainian drones. So Odessa is standing strong. Therefore, Transnistria for now is protected, because they cannot enter otherwise. Maybe just an airlift, but that would be very complicated.
Right.
And also Ukraine wouldn't allow it, because having access to Transnistria, let's say 10,000 soldiers, that would give leverage to Russians. Also, if in September, a pro-Russian government wins, and again, chances are they are winning this, we can speak of a second front on the Moldovan side. We're talking about 400 kilometers. That would be very problematic for our brave Ukrainian friends, which I don't think Ukraine will ever allow it. Reason why, for the moment, nothing happened.
Mm-hmm. So the Prime Minister Recean is saying that, well, I imagine first the elections. So if they can
Absolutely.
influence the elections, so if they're able to influence the elections and the Moldovan opposition takes over the government, are they really capable of letting the Russians come in? And how would you, again, like we just kind of covered this, how would you get 10,000 troops into a landlocked country that approaches either through NATO territory or over Ukraine?
Or over the Black Sea. And they have the capabilities. If this part of Ukraine falls, again, if it doesn't, they have no chance of doing it, regardless of how much they want it. If you want to see how Moldova will look like if a pro-Russian government wins, look what's happening in Georgia. This is what's going to happen in Moldova. I'm really hoping it won't happen. I'm really hoping the European Union, Romania is a neighboring country, will do everything to help the Moldovan government to stay the course. They have been doing a tremendous progress towards the European Union. And even if you take a step back, and if you look at Moldova right now, it's a geopolitical battle between the pro-Russian forces and the pro-European Union forces, right? And the margins are so tight. Again, the EU referendum that now is enshrined in the constitution was won with a difference of 0.7%. Right. With Maya Sandu won the elections in Moldova due to the diaspora's vote, because nationally she would have lost. So it's very, very fragile, the situation right there. All eyes will be on Chisinau as of this beginning of September. Let's see how it happens. But Russia, again, they have been doing this for a very long time. And let me be very clear about this, because still too many international relations experts in the West, they still believe in some sort of decoupling Russia from China and Iran, and it's not going to happen, right? They are working together, and they will be doing everything to win these elections in Moldova. The stakes are simply too high for Russia, and it would allow Russia a maneuvering space that they just don't have now, and we see how they are struggling right now.
Right. So what should Chisinau do? What should the European Union do? Because this will be in the EU's interest as well to keep.
They already have been doing a lot in the past few years with the pro-European government and Maya Sandu. We have seen leaders of the European Union, and not only of the West, marching in Chisinau more than we have seen in Warsaw or in Bucharest, because the European Union really understands the stake here. We have provided, and not just the European Union, even bilaterally, the Nordic countries, but especially Romania, since for us this is sort of a hot potato, and it's of interest of us. And again, let's not forget, Moldovans are Romanians, brothers and sisters. We will not allow an artificial border drawn by the Soviet Union to take that away. We understand the geopolitics and the new reality, but these are the facts. And Vladimir Putin's game right now is to bring back the Yalta sphere of influences. He has been saying it. By the way, Vladimir Putin has been incredibly persistent in his imperialist agenda. We just needed to listen to him.
Yeah, that's
which
true.
We haven't.
Well, now, what about Ukraine and all this? I mean, it seems like Ukraine has legitimate security concerns.
Absolutely.
You know, you have this small landlocked country with about 1,500 Russian soldiers in it. What's stopping them from the Ukrainians from just going in and taking 1,500 Russian soldiers prisoner and replenishing their exchange fund and also helping Chisinau at the same time?
That's an option. It can happen. For the moment, I would imagine the Ukrainians do not see a real threat from this Transnistria's region. Or if there have been some conversation between Moldova and Ukraine, we don't have access to them, we just don't know. But obviously, as you just said, it would take 2 hours for Ukrainians, brave Ukrainian soldiers, to finish this, to be done with all this frozen conflict and P and 5+2 formats and discussions is not going to lead to anywhere. Russia's interest is to have these frozen conflicts and to always push up on them and use them as a weapon whenever they need it, and we have seen it. And again, in Transnistria, we have around 350k Moldovans, let's say, of which 220k thousands, they have Russian passports.
Yeah.
So what do you think is going to happen? Or if Odessa again falls, or Ukraine loses in front of this illegal, brutal and criminal Russia aggression, you could see the same scenario we've seen in Crimea and Donbass, with ethnics that needs protection, orthodox values, and the little green man coming in. I mean, we've seen that. Russia has done it many times, and I'm pretty sure if Ukraine falls, this is the next scenario for Moldova and Transnistria. And let's just say Maya Sandu and the pro-European government somehow manages in September and they win the elections, although it's going to be a tough one. Having 10k soldiers in Transnistria, they could march in days to Chisinau.
Yeah.
That's a real threat. We have to think of this stuff, because we have seen Russia will stop at nothing. Russia would only stop if we stop it. And so far, we haven't been very good at it. Because again, Russia has been at war with the West long before 2014. Although we do not admit it, even today our leaders, our governments refuse to accept that we are in full hybrid war with Russia. But they are at war, and they are fighting a war. And having this little piece, access to this little piece of land, sends the message that Russia still has the capabilities of reaching any corner in the Central Eastern Europe. It's also a message, a leverage on NATO Romanians, as we are neighbors. And that would be a direct threat to have 10,000 soldiers in Transnistria. I mean, there's the local, there's the Romanian, and there's the regional perspective that you have to look at it.
Right.
And Russia always plays on the long term, strategically. And they have won a lot of these battles, sadly.
Well, it seems like it's wake-up time for not only members of NATO, the European Union, but potentially maybe for Ukrainians as well.
It's been 3 years.
To deal with it.
Some of them have been waking up a bit. A lot of them are still sleeping. And I'm hoping that we finally listen to the Polish, we listen to the Baltics, we listen to the Nordics, to Romania, to Moldova, to Georgia, because they've always knew what Russia is, and they've always warned, cried wolf, in every NATO summit, in every European Council, but nobody listened.
Yep. Well, hopefully those times are over. Eusebiu Slavitescu, thank you very much for joining us today and exploring this topic. We very much appreciate it. And that's all the time we have on this edition of World Talks. Thanks for joining us, and stay with us for more here on TVP World.